Welcome to another edition of A Game a Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes, and today's matchup is Game 3 of the Utah Jazz versus Los Angeles Clippers Western Conference Semifinal Series. The Utah Jazz come in with a 2-0 series lead over the heavily favored Los Angeles Clippers. Although the Utah Jazz were the number one seed overall in the NBA with the best record in the NBA, the talent level of the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, along with Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, and so many others, was expected to run roughshod over this Utah team, and it just has not gone that way. Most specifically because Donovan Mitchell has been playing at an exceptional level: 45 points in Game 1, 36 points in Game 2. Along with him, the spectacular shooting and scoring from Jordan Clarkson, who's averaging 19 points off the bench in his playoffs. He's been at such a high level. Utah already coming out very aggressive. Donovan Mitchell almost caught an alley-oop that would have put Utah up 4-0. The alley-oop was disrupted. Rudy Gobert was there to tap it out to Joe Ingles. He knocks in a three. So Utah is up 5-0. In this series, Utah has played exceptionally well defending against Paul George. He's already had 10 games in his career where he shot below 25% in this series, coming off of a 27-point performance in Game 2. It wasn't really indicative of how bad he performed, and already we see Ty Lue calling a timeout with 10:46 to go in the first. Utah up 8-0 as Joe Ingles already with 6 of Utah's 8 points, 2 3-point shots, bad defensive coverage for the Clippers, and we see the Clippers season is on the brink. We'll be back with more as this is A Game a Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Welcome back to another edition of A Game a Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. We are in the first quarter of the Utah Jazz Clippers Game 3. Clippers already trailing 8-0. Joe Ingles with 2 3-point shots early in this first quarter. Ty Lue had to call a timeout. So far, the Jazz 3 of 3 from the floor, 2 of 2 from 3, while the Clippers have only gotten one shot. They've turned over the basketball. They just haven't been fluid. We look at the lineup on the floor: Reggie Jackson, Nicholas Batum, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Marcus Morris. We see the first three fall for Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson's had some huge games through these first two rounds for the Clippers. In the previous series versus the Dallas Mavericks, the Clippers actually fell down 0-2 to Dallas. So this is the second time that the Clippers have fallen down 0-2 in one playoff run, and no team in NBA history has ever come back from two deficits of 0-2 or worse. So let's see if the Clippers can make history. They did it against Dallas. They had to defeat the Dallas Mavericks in 7 games, a series in which saw the Mavericks beat the Clippers 3 different times in LA, but having home court advantage worked to their advantage in Game 7. We get a missed 3 from Royce O'Neal. So Clippers trail 8-3 to get a stop. Let's see if they can string 2 consecutive solid offensive possessions together. If you look at Ty Lue, the championship coach of the Cavaliers going back to 2016, he's been tasked to step in and follow the footsteps of Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers now in Philadelphia, where the Sixers are up 2-1 against the Atlanta Hawks in the semifinals of their series. Donovan Mitchell at the rim almost had a layup fall. Rudy Gobert couldn't get the offensive rebound and put back. Clippers get out and run. Paul George attacking, looks to kick out, goes to Marcus Morris for 3. He steps into the 3. He misses the 3. The Clippers came into the 2021 playoffs as the best shooting team percentage-wise from 3. In the playoffs, they've been very inconsistent. When they've won, they've gotten key 3-point shots, especially from Reggie Jackson. When they have lost, the 3-point shots have evaded them. Tonight here at home, they definitely will need the home cooking of the crowd to get going. Kawhi Leonard will be tasked with having to carry a big load here. in this game tonight. In the series, averaging 29 points per game, shooting 58%. But so far, it's been the inconsistency of Paul George, and just defensively, they haven't been able to stop Utah from doing what they want to do. Joe Ingles misses a three from the right wing. Who's there for the offensive rebound? Rudy Gobert is there for the finish. The three-time Defensive Player of the Year looks to continue to make a huge impact in this series. The Clippers have not been able to play him off the floor. He's been able to switch really, really well, stay out of foul trouble, and really make an imprint on the game defensively. Paul George at the rim. He slams it home. Very, very aggressive start for Paul George, something that the Clippers definitely need to see if they're going to get the best out of Paul George and live up to these championship expectations. You get an offensive foul against Joe Ingles as he pushes off against Marcus Morris. They call the foul. So Utah up 10-5. No, they say that push off goes against Rudy Gobert. So Rudy Gobert trying to clear out for Joe Ingles gets the call. So now Clippers with the basketball. Reggie Jackson already had knocked down a three. Calls for the screen against Nicholas Batum. The switch against Bogdanovich is there. Another three for Reggie Jackson. I mentioned Reggie Jackson's huge performances so far in this playoffs. He already has had a 27-point game in this series. There's been a lot of different games, specifically against Dallas, where he had to step up offensively to complement Kawhi. He's done so at an immense, efficient clip. But tonight, especially with the season on the line, they'll definitely need him to step up big. Donovan Mitchell misses a three. Paul George looking to go off the dribble against Royce O'Neal. Free throw line extended fadeaway jumper is good. So the game is tied at 10. 5 minutes have gone by here in the first. Donovan Mitchell going against Kawhi Leonard. Takes the trap with Marcus Morris. Forces the pass. They have to work it back around to Bogdanovich. Off the dribble. Takes it off the glass. Can't finish the layup. Rebounded by Kawhi Leonard. He gets it to Paul George. The three is missed by George. Joe Ingles with the rebound. Royce O'Neal. Skip pass over to Bogdanovich, trying to get it inside to Rudy Gobert. The pass sailed a bit too far. Took Gobert off the spot, which forced a turnover. We look at Reggie Jackson, knocked down the three on the right wing. Great off the dribble pull up over Bogdanovich. Big time three. You look at this Paul George free throw line extended jumper, able to take Royce O'Neal off the dribble, stop on a dime, finish with the right hand over the top. The field goal percentage for both teams: Utah 2 of 5 from three, Clippers 2 of 5 from three, but the Clippers are 4 of 9 from the field compared to the Clippers, the Clippers are 4 of 9 from the field compared to the Clippers 4 of 9, Utah 4 of 11. Derek Favors, dribble handoff to Royce O'Neal. Back to Donovan Mitchell, 7 on the shot clock. Game tied at 10. Donovan will have to get a shot up. He goes to Bogdanovich with 1 on the shot clock. Couldn't get the shot at the rim. It'll be an air ball. Great defense at the top, trapping Donovan Mitchell, making it difficult on that particular shot. They had to get the ball out of his hands. Kawhi Leonard taking the defensive responsibility early. Good trap there by Paul George on the support. And Bogdanovich had an open shot, but he had to rush. So it was an air ball. Patrick Beverley about to come into the game. Beverley has been in and out of the rotation most recently. Dallas played him off the court. There was a stretch where Ty Lue couldn't even play him, specifically against Luka Doncic, who's just too big against him, and he made it very, very difficult. Here in this series, he started to play early and often, but again, Donovan Mitchell and the Jazz playing him off the court. So we'll see how long his leash is in terms of minutes on the floor, what rotations Ty Lue will have. He'll definitely have to make adjustments depending on if Utah goes on a run. The thing about Patrick Beverley is while he has a defensive reputation, His defensive prowess has fallen off just a bit, and he's always been offensively challenged. That's just the reality. Kawhi Leonard attacking the baseline, able to get the reverse, starting off on the right, finishing on the left side of the rim. So Clippers take their first lead of the game. They're on a 9-0 run over the last 3:14 of this first quarter. Donovan Mitchell misses a layup, rebounded by Kawhi Leonard. Going down the lane, takes contact as he crosses over right to left. So with 5:18 to go, the Jazz starting to get in foul trouble. We look at this previous layup from Kawhi, able to get around Derek Favors just enough to finish that reverse. Took contact, no call, but was able to finish with that right hand on the left side. Kawhi Leonard, free throw line extended jumper, rolls around the rim, misses, rebounded by Favors. 5 minutes left here in the first. The Jazz started 3 of 3. They're 1 of 9 over their last 9 shots. Jordan Clarkson trying to provide that spark, knocks down the 3 from the left corner. Jordan Clarkson, the 2020-2021 Sixth Man of the Year. As I mentioned, him averaging 19 points off the bench here in this playoffs. Utah 3 of 7 from 3. Now they have a 1-point lead. Nicholas Batum going against Derek Favors at the rim, able to finish. Good move off the dribble there by Nicholas Batum. So seesaw game, here we go. Clippers up 1. Utah again dealing with a trap. Nicholas Batum and Morris trapping Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell gets it to Royce O'Neal. Over to Clarkson. 7 on the shot clock. Top of the key. Going against Kawhi Leonard. Clarkson has to get the shot up. Takes the shot. Misses it. Rebounded by Batum. Going to Patrick Beverly. Beverly, again, offensively challenged. He'll look for an option. He goes to Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson, crossover dribble on Donovan Mitchell. Kick out to Morris. Morris thought about a shot. He takes the shot. He makes the shot. Good free throw line extended jumper there by Morris as the shot clock was winding down. 16-13, Clippers lead Utah. 3:55 left here in the first quarter. The Clippers fans and faithful here to support the Clippers, trailing 0-2 to the Utah Jazz. This season is a must-win for the Clippers. Stay tuned for more. This is the Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Welcome back to another edition of the Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. We are live, Game 3 between the Utah Jazz and Los Angeles Clippers. Very highly contested early, as the Clippers have a 3-point lead, 16-13, 3:50 remaining in the first quarter. Utah started the game 3 of 3. Since then, they've made 1 field goal. When you look at what Jordan Clarkson has done since coming into the game, he's provided provided a scoring spark to keep the Clippers in the game already with 2 3-point shots, 6 points. Again, the 2021 Sixth Man of the Year, very, very integral to this Utah Jazz offense. Marcus Morris knocks in a mid-range jumper from the left block. So Clippers up 18. Look at Donovan Mitchell with the basketball. He's 0-3 from the floor, but he has 2 assists. Looks to set up Royce O'Neal from the right wing 3. Can't knock it down. Rebounded by Morris. He finds Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson has knocked down 2 3-pointers here in this first quarter. Kawhi Leonard working the right baseline. Finds Zubac. Zubac can't finish the layup. Kawhi Leonard is there for the putback. Can't finish it, but he's fouled. So he'll be going to the free throw line for 2. The Jazz defeated the Clippers in Game 2, 117-111. Kawhi Leonard was 8 of 17 from the floor with 21 points. Paul George had 27 points, but again, the first 3 quarters of his game was really, really uninspiring. He turned up in that fourth quarter, especially towards the latter parts of the game when the game was out of reach. So the score looks a bit more cosmetic than the actual performance. But again, when you have Kawhi scoring 21, you get 27 from Paul George. And Reggie Jackson, I mentioned his premier performances so far in this playoffs. I said he had 27, but he had 29 points, 11 of 19 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3 in Game 2. That Clippers team, especially with that high-power offense, you expect them to overwhelm a Utah team. But this Utah team, again, doesn't have any fear. They're the number 1 seed in the West. They got great performances from Donovan Mitchell with his 37 points, 15 of 29 from the floor, 6 of 12 from three. They also got 24 points, 9 of 15 from the field from Jordan Clarkson. So that particular perimeter performance, along with the great interior defense from Rudy Gobert with 13 points and 20 rebounds, that definitely contributed to what we saw and how Utah was able to close out that game. Here tonight, though, the Clippers very, very aggressive defensively, forcing traps on Donovan Mitchell and these guards. And right now, the Clippers just trying to keep their season alive. Paul George misses a jumper. It's a 20-16 lead, but we got a kick ball against the Clippers, so it'll be 2:21 left to go here in this first quarter. Possession will stay with Utah. Joe Ingles, crossover on Kawhi, attacking, dumps it off to Rudy Gobert. Back to Joe Ingles. That was a disjointed possession, but they'll take the points nevertheless. As Ingles able to get the basket. Ingles now 3 of 5 from the floor. He knocked down 2 threes very early uh, and has 8 points. Paul George comes right back at the top of the key and knocks in the 3 of his own. So it's a 5-point game, 23-18. Royce O'Neal with the basketball finds Jordan Clarkson. Clarkson, guarded by Patrick Beverley, has it deflected out of bounds, and Patrick Beverley lets him know it won't be easy. Patrick Beverley always often very animated, tends to get under the player's skin, very much an irritant. It's what has kept him in the game for so long. And I think more so than anything, that toughness, although he's only 6'2", tends to permeate on his teams. 3-point shot for Joe Ingles is good. So Joe Ingles is the one keeping Utah in the game right now. He's knocked down 3 3-pointers here in his first quarter. He already has 11 points. Kawhi Leonard takes the screen. Cut off by Rudy Gobert. Mid-range jumper, nevertheless, off the left block. Free throw line extended is good. So 2-possession lead for the Clippers, 25-21. Joe Ingles trying to attack Paul George. Ingles with 11. Got cut off. Finds Gobert. Great finish inside for Rudy Gobert. 25-23. Back and forth we go. Patrick Beverley slips on the dribble. Could have been called for the travel. No call. Kawhi Leonard working the baseline. Kicks it out to Paul George, but it's stolen by Joe Ingles. And Patrick Beverley fouls Jordan Clarkson to prevent the three. 41 seconds to go here in the third quarter. Jazz, while they haven't been shooting well from the floor outside of Joe Ingles and Jordan Clarkson, they still have a chance to steal this quarter and keep pace with the Clippers. So far, Jazz 9 of 21 from the floor. The Clippers 10 of 20, 50% from three. The Jazz 5 of 11, and the Clippers are 3 of 6. 35 seconds left. Joe Ingles with the basketball. He's had the high hand for the Jazz. Dribble handoff to Clarkson. Clarkson thought about a three. Goes to Ingles on the left wing. Floated by Ingles off the back rim. Rebounded by Paul George. Looking for a teammate. Surveys the floor. 20 seconds left here in the first quarter. So the shot clock is off. George on the right wing. Finds Patrick Beverley. Thought about a three. Beverley, floater off the glass. Good. And I think if you're the Jazz, you definitely didn't expect Patrick Beverley to make plays off the dribble, but the Clippers will take it as Rudy Gobert heaves a three-point shot at the buzzer, no good. Paul George, 7 points at the end of one. Joe Ingles has 11. Both will be tasked with carrying the offensive load, especially Paul George. I mentioned his struggles in the first two games offensively. He definitely wants to put on a big performance here to save this Clippers season. While the Jazz are struggling from the floor shooting, Joe Ingles is stepping up and keeping them in the game. So it's a 4-point game right now. After one, the Clippers lead 27-23. This is Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another edition of A Game a Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Luke Kennard is into the game for the Clippers. He took a three to start the quarter. The Clippers missed that three, but the offensive rebound is there. Terrence Mann is also into the game for the Clippers. Um, Nemanja Zubac is also in the game. He got fouled, so possession will stay with the Clippers. We look at Donovan Mitchell on the bench right now. Donovan having a tough go at it here in the first quarter, especially with the first two games that he had 45 points in game one, 37 points in game two, especially coming down the stretch for the Jazz as a go-to scorer. There's been a lot made about how the Clippers have been defending perimeter stars. We've spoken about Donovan Mitchell. We can't forget about what Luka Doncic did to them in 7 games in the first round. So there definitely has been a lot of expectations on this Clippers team defensively. When you think about the premier names that they have in Kawhi Leonard, who's a Defensive Player of the Year 2 times over. You have Paul George, who's an all defensive first team member, and then you have Patrick Beverly, who's known for his scrappy defense as well. This Clippers team has not lived up to their defensive prowess on a consistent basis. Okay, so while I was breaking down the Los Angeles Clippers defense most recently, they are upgrading the foul that was given to Jordan Clarkson against Nemanja Zubac. They've upgraded that to a flagrant foul, as on the offensive rebound he slapped Zubac in the face. Zubac makes the first of 2 flagrant free throws. Um, So that's something that the Jazz have to be wary of in terms of this lead kind of increasing. But with that said, going back to the Clippers defense, uh, the the challenge was set by Ty Lue for someone to take on the defensive onus to defend Donovan Mitchell. That, like I said, a lot has been made about what the expectations are for this Clippers team defensively, and they just have not lived up to it, whether it be going through the motions or defensive breakdowns, whatever the case may be. This is playoff basketball, and they have to be consistent and look to take on the defensive onus against premier players. Paul George misses a mid-range jumper, rebounded by Jordan Clarkson. Clarkson with Jordan Niang takes the screen from Niang. Clarkson steps into a three-point shot. Big three for Jordan Clarkson, cutting cutting the Clippers' lead from 5 to 3. Clarkson 3 of 3 from the floor with 9 points. And Paul George misses a floater. He attacked Mie Oni, who's in the game for the Jazz as well. As we look at this previous three from Jordan Clarkson, he raised that right arm to create some space against Paul George just enough. Paul George took a throat chop, no call on that. It freed up Clarkson for the three. Nicholas Batum sidesteps Clarkson, going to his left on the left wing, knocks in the three, so that puts the Clippers back up by 5, 31-26. Joe Ingles had a huge first quarter for the Jazz. Dribble handoff to Clarkson. Clarkson guarded by Paul George. 10 on the shot clock. Clarkson, straightaway three. Off the back rim, rebounded by Zubac. Man, looking to attack Clarkson. Contact, no call. Steps into the mid-range. Strong rebound by Joe Ingles and a foul against Man. Man actually got freed just a bit as Clarkson hit the floor. Took the jumper, but didn't expect to be that open. He missed it short. And as Joe Ingles went in for the rebound, Man had some contact there. So Ingles will be handling the ball at the top of the key. Look to take a screen from Gobert to get the switch with Zubac on him. Clarkson in the right corner, back out to Ingles. Ingles steps into a three, all cotton. So back and forth we've gone here in the second quarter. The three-point shot has been there for both teams. Ingles 4 of 6 from 3 for 14 points. Paul George trying to get it to man in that left corner. Going against Jordan Niang. Back out to Paul George. George attacking Rudy Gobert. Good seal off there by Zubac to give Paul George just enough space to get that layup up on the glass cleanly. Skip pass from Ingles over to Oni. Oni misses the three, and the initial rebound for Rudy Gobert was there, but there's a loose ball foul against Zubac. Zubac can't believe the call. We look at Jordan Clarkson attacking, and he kicks out to Joe Ingles. And then we look at Paul George attacking again. A great sail off there by Zubac, just enough to free up Paul George. Rudy Gobert got caught in between Paul George and Zubac just long enough for that layup. It's a 4-point game, 33-29. Niang working the right baseline. Great defense there by Paul George to strip it, and it goes off Niang's leg. So 9:17 to go here in the second. The defensive pressure from the Clippers has picked up. The ball handlers for the Jazz have not had it easy. They've been making tough shots. You don't want to take anything away from Utah. They've been making shots to keep this a game, but the defensive pressure is definitely there from the Clippers. Paul George knocks down another shot, a big three-point shot to open up a 7-point lead for the Clippers, 36-29. And we got a foul in the paint. Personal foul against Reggie Jackson, trying to defend Rudy Gobert. 8:53 to go here in the first. We look at this three from Paul George. Took the screen from Zubac, stepped into the three with confidence. And that's the way the Clippers have to see Paul George play. He has to be aggressive. He has the ultimate skill set as a shooter and scorer. He can go off the dribble. He can create for others. All of these skills have made him an all-star in this league with superstar potential. The reason he's not a superstar in some people's eye is because under pressure, he doesn't play with the same consistency that he would when there's no pressure. 5 on the shot clock. Clarkson thought about a three. He has to lean into the shot, misses the shot, gets his own miss. He understood he was going to miss, tracked it perfectly, missed the initial putback, but his second jump was there. Great tenacity there by Jordan Clarkson. 36-31, Clippers lead. Reggie Jackson steps into a three from the left wing. Great drawing kick there by Paul George. Again, I mentioned Paul George's ability to create for others, utilizing his ability to handle the basketball, attack the paint, and was able to find Reggie Jackson for a wide open three. Jordan Clarkson trying to attack the Clippers defense, wasn't able to get the finish, but the rebound wasn't corralled by the Clippers. We look at this great acrobatic play here by Jordan Clarkson. Again, very, very smart in understanding he was going to miss that shot. Got it up on the rim just so he could beat the 24-second violation. Went up for the putback, missed it initially, but then went right back up and put the layup in. But that Reggie Jackson three put the Clippers back up 8 with 8:05 to go here in the first half. 39-31, Clippers lead. Donovan Mitchell finds Rudy Gobert. Gobert finds Clarkson. Clarkson at the free throw line. It's called for the travel. He got caught between wanting to score and looking to pass. So 8 minutes to go here in the first half. We look at the scoring prowess of Jordan Clarkson through the first two games. 18 points in game one, 24 points in game two. Very, very efficient from the floor, knocking down some tough shots as well. He continues that here tonight. Clippers, though, with the basketball. Kawhi Leonard going against Bogdanovich. Tough defense by Bogdanovich. He's done a great job against Kawhi here through these first two games. Donovan Mitchell attacking. Able to get his first basket of the game. 6-point game, 39-33. Reggie Jackson steps into a three. Knocks down another three, and a timeout by Quinn Snyder as the Clippers now lead by 9, 7:21 to go. Another three-pointer from Reggie Jackson. I mentioned his prowess throughout the playoffs, stepping up for the Clippers when they've needed him most. Their season on the line, he's there to perform. Stay tuned for more. This is the Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another edition of A Game a Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Reggie Jackson previously just knocked in a three prior to that timeout, forcing Quinn Snyder to call a timeout. Jackson 4-4 from three tonight in this series, coming into this game, shooting 54% from three, uh, pardon me, 54% from the floor from three, shooting 7 of 13 from three in the series coming into this game. So shooting very, very well. This during the playoffs, shooting 42% from three, and I think again just his prowess and experience in the playoffs. He goes back to his OKC days, playing with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. He's played in high pressure situations, so he understands the urgency that he has to play with. Donovan Mitchell comes back and knocks in the three of his own. He has to get going for this Utah Jazz team. Reggie Jackson going in the post against Kawhi Leonard. Great footwork against Jordan Clarkson. Good double team there by Derek Favors. But Kawhi finds Terrence Mann flashing down the lane and Mann able to finish over the top of Derek Favors. Donovan Mitchell thought about a three, goes to Jordan Clarkson. 15 on the shot clock. Clarkson against Mann. Clarkson has to get a shot up. Got caught in a weird space offensively. Goes to Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell back-to-back threes as Mitchell had to step up and knock down that three. The shot clock was winding down. The defensive pressure for the Clippers was there initially against Clarkson. Now Mitchell 3 of 6 from the floor, 2 of 3 from three with 8 points. Mitchell trying to split defenders, Terrence Mann and Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi strips Donovan Mitchell on the spin. So it's a 7-point game for the Clippers, 46-39. Mitchell taking a double team against Nicholas Batum and Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson gets back defensively against Bogdanovich. One-on-one. Mitchell against Terrence Mann. Great defense by Kawhi Leonard on the late recovery to set up that block. Reggie Jackson on the right wing going against Royce O'Neal. 13 on the shot clock. Reggie Jackson takes a screen from Batum. Batum at the top of the key, thought about a three, attacks off the dribble, and has to be fouled by Derek Favors to prevent the easy layup. So the Clippers, again, starting to clamp down defensively here in this game. They're playing with a sense of urgency. Turnover there by Donovan Mitchell on the spin created an easy opportunity for Kawhi at the rim. And then Donovan Mitchell tried to attack Terrence Mann. Again, Kawhi Leonard coming late on the defensive end, just enough, just in time to get that block and get the Clippers out and running. Kawhi tonight has 5 rebounds, 3 of 9 from the floor for 8 points. Although he's been inefficient so far, he's still making an impact on the game in other areas. Nicholas Batum goes 1 of 2 at the free throw line, so it's a 8-point game, 47-39. Donovan Mitchell, mid-range jumper, able to get it to fall on the left block, free throw line extended. So it's 47-41. Clippers lead with the basketball. Paul George getting it going here offensively. On cue, knocks in another mid-range jump shot. 14 points for Paul George. Donovan Mitchell takes the trap, goes to Royce O'Neal. Skip pass back over to Jordan Clarkson. He misses a three from the left wing. Nicholas Batum gets the rebound, finds Paul George. At the top of the key, crossover dribble from Paul George right to left. Royce O'Neal had to foul. And when you see Paul George in this groove offensively, working off the dribble, able to get into the paint, that's what you want to see. Yes, he can knock down the three. Yes, he's very comfortable in catch and shoot opportunities. But when he starts to settle for threes, he starts thinking too much, and the shot stops falling. And again, when he's not aggressive attacking, he's bailing the defense out. You have to attack on a consistent basis, almost to a point where it doesn't matter who's defending you. If you attack at a consistent basis now, the defense has to collapse no matter what, and then you can set up not only for yourself but others. Paul George in the paint has to kick it out to Nicholas Batum. Finds Reggie Jackson. His three rims out. Offensive rebound goes to Nicholas Batum. Kawhi Leonard with the basketball. Good effort there on the offensive glass by Nicholas Batum. Crossover dribble by Kawhi. Mid-range jumper. Steps into it with perfect harmony. He was able to knock that down. Rudy Gobert had to protect the paint. Stepped back a bit too far. Gave Kawhi just enough room to knock in that three-point shot. Donovan Mitchell drives, draws, and kicks to Bogdanovich. He misses a three. Good box out there by Marcus Morris. Couldn't get the rebound, but Nicholas Batum got the rebound as Rudy Gobert was trying to corral that rebound. And Paul George in the groove, able to break down Bogdanovich just enough on that three-point shot. Got the three off the dribble. Clippers now up by 13, 54-41. Utah leads 2-0, but Utah understands the high-powered nature of this Clippers team when they get it going. Paul George, 17.7 of 13 from the floor. And Nicholas Batum applying pressure on Bogdanovich. Clippers able to stop that ball rotation just enough with 1.7 seconds left. .7 to go on the shot clock. 3:15 to go here in the half. Royce O'Neal trying to get it inbounded. He finds Donovan Mitchell. Donovan shoots it off the side of the backboard. So that'll be a shot clock violation. 3:13 to go here in the first half. The Clippers have everything rolling. They're making it very, very difficult on Donovan Mitchell. They're trapping him, getting the ball out of his hands, and then when he's tasked with trying to score, he's shooting over outstretched arms. He's facing double teams. He's trying to split the double teams. He's turning over the basketball. It's very, very tough for Mitchell right now. Kawhi, 10 points here in the first half. Finds Paul George. George knocks in another three-point shot. 20 points here in the first half. 2:54 to go. Clippers up by 16. This is the Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Paul George has answered the call. The Clippers season is on the line. They're down 0-2 in this semifinal series against Utah. The game on the line. Clippers have to win this game. Welcome back. 2:40 to go. 2:45 to go here in the first half. Clippers lead Utah 57-41. Big first half performance so far for Paul George. George already with 20 points. He's knocking down a number of three-point shots. He's very, very confident, and his fluid flow for the game right now is definitely rubbing off on his teammates. Donovan Mitchell responds by knocking in a three. The Jazz definitely needed that to stop the bleeding. As we see Donovan Mitchell again under duress, faced an initial trap of Kawhi and Reggie Jackson. And the three-point shot for Donovan Mitchell was still over the outstretched arms of Jackson. Again, Donovan Mitchell understanding the pressure he's under, still able to knock down a huge three-point shot. So it's a 13-point game now, 57-44. Paul George guarded by Mitchell. Three-point shot for George off a sidestep three, step back, no good. Rebounded by Royce O'Neal. O'Neal finds Donovan. Donovan, not one to ever back down from a challenge, and going back to game one, struggling from the field. He turned it around in that second half, got it going against this Clippers team who really didn't have any answer for him down the stretch. He went from 13 points in game and he went from 13 points in the first half to 32 points in the second half. Got to 45, very, very aggressive. The three-point shot was falling, but again, his tenacity is what has turned the series for Utah. Here, look, this is a perfect example. Here in the first quarter, 0 points in the first quarter, 13 in game 13 in quarter number 2. Joe Ingles misses the layup. The offensive rebound was there for Rudy Gobert. Couldn't quite corral it. Paul George out on the run finds Nicholas Batum flashing down the lane. The aggressiveness from Paul George drew the defense in. He was able to kick it right to Nicholas Batum in time for an easy slam. So Clippers back up 15, 59-44. Mitchell takes a long three-point shot on the right wing, knocks it down. So Mitchell, understanding the circumstance, trying to keep Utah in the game. It's a 12-point game, 59-47. 1:15 to go here in the first half. Batum has the mismatch with Gobert on him. Steps up for that three. Gobert tried to close out just enough, but it wasn't enough. Three-point shot is good, so it's a 15-point game, 62-47. Donovan Mitchell has knocked down some tough three-point shots here in the second. Tried to attack, couldn't knock down the shot. Missed three-pointer for Kawhi. Offensive rebound by Nicholas Batum. Finds Kawhi in the left corner, couldn't knock down another three. Kawhi shooting 4 of 12 from the floor. 35 seconds on the shot clock. Donovan Mitchell takes a tough shot. That was a bad shot on the left wing. He missed that three. So it's a 15-point game, 62-47. Paul George with 20 here in the first half. Not only does he have 20, but he's been able to set up for others as well. Three-point shot for George, rims out. Rebounded by Gobert. Donovan Mitchell with the basketball, 10 on the game clock here in the first half. And we got a foul against Patrick Beverley, fighting over that screen by Bogdanovich. So Clippers over the penalty, 5.6 to go. Although Bogdanovich will be going to the free throw line, if you're the Clippers, this works in your favor because you'll get the final possession. Bogdanovich makes the first. Boban Bogdanovich, the older brother of Bogdan Bogdanovich, who is currently playing with the Atlanta Hawks right now, and Bogdanovich, the younger Bogdanovich, was a hot commodity in the offseason. He initially was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, but he didn't sign off on that trade, and the trade was reneged, and then he ended up signing with the Hawks, and it's worked out in his favor. As I say that, Reggie Jackson attacks Donovan Mitchell with 0.4 of a second left, able to get that finish, and it is 64-49. Paul George with 20 points, 4 of 7 from the three-point line. Donovan Mitchell had a huge second quarter that got him to 16 points, but right now the Clippers able to get balanced scoring as Reggie Jackson has also contributed 16 points, playing at a high level, and the Clippers, knowing that this season is on the line, down 0-2 to the Jazz, are up 64-49. Stay tuned for more. This is a Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Welcome back to this Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. The Clippers come into this second half up by 15. Paul George with 20 first half points really set the tone for the Clippers, and they definitely needed him to perform at a high level, considering how he came into this series, struggling down the latter part of that Dallas Mavericks series, coming into the first two games of this series struggling. So he had to definitely step it up with the Clippers season on the brink. They're down 0-2 in this series. Again, he's performing at a high level. Reggie Jackson got the Clippers off to a great start in that first quarter. He continued it at the latter part of that second quarter. 16 points for Reggie Jackson to go along with Paul George's 20. Kawhi Leonard struggling from the floor, only 10 points, but he gets a basket here to start the third quarter to put the Clippers up by 16. Donovan Mitchell able to draw a foul against, let's see, was that Marcus Moore? It was either Marcus Morris or Reggie Jackson. We'll get that to you very shortly. But Donovan Mitchell had 0 points in that first quarter. The Clippers were trapping him, getting the ball out of his hands. When he did get a shot up, it was over outstretched arms. And again, facing those traps, him off the dribble, he had a number of turnovers and shots blocked because of that. In the second quarter, he was able to get going regardless of who was on him, regardless if it was a double team or not. He knew The Jazz needed him to be aggressive for them to stay into this game. He had 16 points in the second quarter. So let's see what this third quarter has in store. That first half for Mitchell was very similar to the Jazz first half in game one. But again, in that second half of game one, 32 points for Mitchell was able to swing the game for the Jazz. Does he have another one of those in him? Let's see. But again, the Clippers, understanding they're down 0-2, their defensive attention is ratcheted up, especially against Donovan Mitchell, to try to save their season. Kawhi Leonard off the dribble against Royce O'Neal, working his way to the right, kicks out to Reggie Jackson on the left wing. Reggie Jackson at the top, trying to kick it out uh, to Royce O'Neal. 3-point shot for Bogdanovich, no good. Offensive rebound for Rudy Gobert. Gobert has to get it going, uh, not more so offensively, but just being a presence, whether that is defense or offense. I think for him, he's more predicated on defense, but just being an anchor inside, finishing on the offensive glass, the type of shots that he just got uh, off that miss from Bogdanovich to get that putback, those are the type of shots he has to get offensively. Basket is good for Nicholas Batum to put the Clippers up 69-52. But again, Donovan Mitchell very, very aggressive, able to get a basket. Batum goes at Gobert, blocked by Gobert. That type of presence is what Utah needs. Donovan Mitchell gets the rebound, looking to attack Reggie Jackson. Fakes the pass to O'Neal in the corner, misses the layup. Clippers able to get out and run. Paul George on the right wing attacks Bogdanovich, and we do have all offensive foul. Tough call there, but Bogdanovich had to step in and stop that Paul George finish because that missed layup by Donovan Mitchell would have been a 4-point swing had he given up that Paul George layup. So a 15-point game, Clippers with the basketball. They came into this half trailing by 15. Joe Ingles had a huge first quarter with 11 points. Since then, he's gone relatively quiet, just 14 points overall. But again, Ingles' game is never out of flow because he does so many little things. Bogdanovich misses a layup at the rim, rebounded by Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson finds Paul George. Again, Paul George with 20 in the first half. Very, very aggressive. Attacks Gobert. Gobert able to defend without fouling. Put a body on George. George couldn't finish the layup. And Mitchell misses a layup. Offensive rebound by Gobert. He misses the layup, but he's fouled. So he'll go to the free throw line. Rudy Gobert struggling from the free throw line overall, but he's starting to pick up his defensive prowess and making it very difficult on Clippers players that attack the paint. Prior to that Paul George miss, we saw Rudy Gobert block Nicholas Batum, which allowed the Jazz to get out and run. So Gobert tonight, 6 points, 3 of 5 from the floor, 8 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Gobert, the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year, his third time winning the award, makes the first free throw. I know a lot of people who criticize Rudy Gobert in terms of his his actual impact offensively, uh, but him being an anchor defensively definitely changes the game. I know a lot of different teams like to challenge Gobert, especially bringing him out to the perimeter defensively. I think Utah, as a collective, this year has done much better on the perimeter, which hasn't necessarily made Gobert that much of a weakness, uh, coming out and defending on the perimeter as much as he had to in the past. So with that said, this team is much more well-rounded. Offensively, there's still Donovan Mitchell a bust at times, but with the likes of Jordan Clarkson picking up offensively and Bogdanovich picking up offensively, it definitely has contributed to why this Utah Jazz team won 52 games this year and was the number 1 overall seed in the West. Donovan Mitchell trying to drive and kick has it stolen. Paul George finds Kawhi Leonard, who is fouled. Initially looked to be an and one, but they said the foul was on the floor prior to the gather. But this Clippers team definitely is behind the Clippers fans are behind this Clippers team, their effort. Again, putting multiple bodies on Donovan Mitchell in the air, uh, trying to make a pass. It turned into a steal. Donovan Mitchell fouls Kawhi Leonard before he even caught the pass from Paul George. So good call by the ref there. 15-point game. Clippers up, looking to build. Kawhi Leonard draws and kicks to Morris. Morris thought about a shot, pump fakes, instead takes the mid-range jumper, able to fade just enough out of the outstretched arms of Bogdanovich. Started on the right, worked his way left. Bogdanovich finds Gobert inside, and Gobert is fouled by Nicholas Batum to prevent an easy basket. Good foul by Batum, nevertheless, because Gobert is a struggling free throw shooter in his career. 7:54 to go here in the third quarter. We get the stats for you. First free throw for Gobert is no good. Well, it is good, excuse me. Pardon me on that. We look at the scoring on both sides and the shooting, just to give you some stats. Jazz shooting 40% from the floor, 20 of 50. The Clippers are shooting 52% from the floor, 29 of 56 from three. The Clippers are 11 of 22, while the Jazz are 11 of 24. One of the areas that have allowed the Clippers to really create the separation is points in the paint. They have 24 points in the paint compared to 16 for the Jazz. The Jazz also have 10 turnovers. Those 10 turnovers have turned into 17 points for the Clippers as well. Kawhi Leonard with another basket. A three-point shot for the Jazz gets them to within 14. Kawhi Leonard looking to respond, gets another basket. He scores on the reverse, started on the right side, worked his way to the left and got that reverse. Donovan Mitchell right back. So with 7 minutes to go here in the third, we get a timeout on the floor. 7:01 to play. 77-63, Clippers lead Utah. Utah trying to stay in the game as much as they can, but Kawhi Leonard is picking it up here in the second half, was able to drive on Royce O'Neal, attack Rudy Gobert just in time, and he slams it home with the two-hand slam. Then right after that, got a reverse. Those aggressive attack plays, not only from Kawhi, but Paul George, really set the tone for those around him, and that's why we see the Clippers playing with a much higher sense of urgency, knowing their season is on the line. 7:01 to play here in the third. Clippers up 14, 77-63. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back as the Clippers are able to score out of that timeout 79-63. Donovan Mitchell looking to keep pace is fouled by Marcus Morris on the three with 6:38 to play. Again, Donovan Mitchell understanding the circumstance. Kawhi Leonard has gotten it going here in the second half. Another jump shot for Kawhi after a number of attacks at the basket. Now he's in the rhythm and he's got it going. He's always going to round out to an efficient field goal percentage. You never have to really worry about him in that regard. He started the game cold, trying to find a rhythm. But the one thing the Clippers did have, they had support. As Reggie Jackson got the Clippers going, then Paul George got in the rhythm and started really kicking it up in that second quarter. And now Kawhi is trying to put the kill shot on the Jazz here in the third. But Donovan Mitchell, very, very aggressive, still trying to keep the Jazz within arm's length just enough to keep the Clippers thinking. First free throw good for Mitchell. He misses the second, so he gets the third free throw. Third free throw is good. So it's back to a 14-point game, 79-65. Paul George. On the left wing, skip pass over to Reggie Jackson. Kawhi, guarded by Derek Favors. Favors has had a problem guarding Kawhi over the last couple of possessions. Mid-range jumper from Kawhi, free throw line extended, no good. Rebounded by Royce O'Neal. He finds Donovan Mitchell. Back to Royce. Royce misses his short. Rebounded by Kawhi. Kawhi looking to work that right sideline, guarded by Royce O'Neal. They work it around to Nicholas Batum in that left corner. He misses the three short. We crossed the halfway point of this third quarter. Donovan Mitchell steps right into a three. Big three-pointer. And if you're the Jazz, the three-point line has been the only reason you're in this game. The Jazz really keeping pace with the Clippers here from the three-point line. And now it's an 11-point game turnover here by the Clippers. So with 5:46 to play, if you're Utah, considering how bad you shot the ball overall, to be 11 points down with 5:38 to go in the third, this is an ideal situation. Donovan Mitchell, knowing how hot he can get, you're never out of a game. Mitchell now guarded by Kawhi. Mitchell splits the defense. A bit out of control. Finds Jordan Clarkson for a floater inside. Can't finish. But Derek Favors is there for the putback. So that phonetic pace offensively worked towards Utah's favor as Mitchell had the defense scrambling just enough to open up those rebounding lanes. Utah on a 7-0 run over the last minute and 37 seconds. Reggie Jackson, left wing three. Big three for Reggie Jackson. And I mentioned his penchant for shooting three so far here in his playoffs have really kept the Clippers in certain series. And now shooting 54% coming into this game, he keeps up the hot three-point shooting. Royce O'Neal responds with the three of his own from the left wing. So it's back to a 9-point game. 4:40 to go here in the third. Paul George looking to attack Royce O'Neal. Takes a screen from Nicholas Batum. Now has Derek Favors on him. At the rim, strong finish by Paul George. He had it in his mind he was going to score. There was nothing that would stop him. No matter what defensive coverage was there, he was very aggressive. That's how the Clippers need Paul George to play. Paul George now of 19 from the floor, 22 points. 10 on the shot clock for Utah. Jordan Clarkson in the right corner. Kicks it to Royce O'Neal. Around to Donovan Mitchell. He misses the three. Rebounded by Royce O'Neal. Bogdanovich steps into a three. Big three for Bogdanovich. And Utah has cut the lead to 8. 84-73. 4:02 to go here in the third. The Jazz have picked up their scoring, utilizing that three-point line. Initially, it kept them in the game. Now they're making their run. The Clippers have to recalibrate. They have to discuss coverages and lock back in because now the Jazz have it going. Stay tuned for more. This is a Game of Day by Zay presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As the Utah Jazz have made their run, they've outscored the Clippers by 7 so far here in the third quarter. 3:55 to go. Paul George looking for Nemanja Zubac. Skip pass over to Nicholas Batum. Good closeout by Bogdanovich on Paul George in the right corner. Paul George steps up for three, knocks it down under duress. If you're Utah, all you can do is shake his hand after that. That's a tough three-point make. It's back to 11. The Clippers desperately needed that. Donovan Mitchell looking to respond. He misses the three short. Rebounded by Paul George. George in a groove, looking to attack. Takes a screen from Zubac. Tries to split defense. We got a blocking foul against Derek Favors. So this is what playoff basketball is. It's going to be a game of runs. You understand the sense of urgency on both sides. Utah, if they win this game, the series is all but effectively over. No team has ever come back from a 0-3 deficit to win a playoff series in NBA history. If you're the Clippers, you understand what it takes to come back down 0-2. You lost the first two games to Dallas in that series, ended up losing 3 home games in that series, but defeated the Dallas Mavericks on their home floor 3 different times and won Game 7 at home. So the tenacity is there within this team. Can they play consistently over a long stretch of time to swing this game? Donovan Mitchell at the rim, blocked by Zubac. Good contest there. Good support by Patrick Beverly on the initial drive. Zubac was there on the back end to finish that block. Zubac very inconsistent with how he's used in uh, Ty Lue's rotation. Sometimes he's a starter, sometimes he's not. He tends to get lost at times, but he's so young. You definitely sense a lot of potential in his game, and if he's used on a consistent basis, he definitely would develop more confidence. Right now, with the game clearly still in doubt, Zubac only 1 point, but he has 5 rebounds and a block. Can he uh, become a defensive anchor for this team? He's really the only true big man that they use. Everybody else is more utility players and used in situations depending on matchups. He's going up against Rudy Gobert, who's 7'2". Again, Rudy is limited offensively, but his size is definitely impactful, and Utah definitely utilizes that to their advantage. So if Zubac can negate him in any way, he's doing his job. Jordan Clarkson, fadeaway jumper off the dribble. He misses it. Rebounded by Kawhi Leonard. Leonard has picked up his scoring here in the third quarter. 17 points for Kawhi. Paul George looking to create some action off of the curl. Pat Bev uses that just a bit to distract Utah. Goes to Kawhi. Kawhi draws a foul. Not quite a foul in my opinion, but again, the freedom of movement. They have to call a foul against Donovan Mitchell. 2:37 to play. Mitchell goes to the bench. This probably will be a short rest because the fourth quarter is going to be a shootout. Clippers up by 12, but they know the firepower that Donovan Mitchell possesses. As long as he's on the floor, his team is never out of a game. He's going to fight to the very end, regardless of if Utah is up 2 games to none or not. He wants to win every single game, and that competitive fire is always what drives this Utah team. Kawhi makes both free throws. It's a 13-point game. Bogdanovich drives on Luke Kennard. He draws a foul. So that's the 15th foul against the Clippers. Utah trying to keep pace with the Clippers. Um, they got this lead down to 8. They went into the half down by 15. It was 64-49. First free throw good for Bogdanovich. Game 4 of this game will be on Monday at 10 p.m. So that game would be very important. Depending on the results of this one, it can be a swing game. If Utah is able to come back and take a 3-0 series lead, they can look to sweep on Monday. But if not, you might see the Clippers looking to tie this series in Game 4. Paul George sets up Nemanja Zubac on the drive. Alley-oop slam for Zubac. His first field goal of the game. And Joe Ingles went left. He's a left-handed player. He's always going to work his way back left. He was able to attack Zubac just enough, but he didn't shoot the ball. He was looking to pass. So that as we talk about the pass, good setup there by Paul George. It forced Rudy Gobert to step up defensively. He didn't know whether that would be a floater or not because of Paul George's aggressiveness all game, and it was actually a pass for Zubac for an easy slam. The foul puts the Clippers over the limit, or they continue to play over the limit. So Zubac commits the foul. Ingles makes the first free throw. Terrence Mann comes into the game for Paul George. George playing really, really well so far. Only 5 points in the third quarter, but he's knocked down some key shots. He has 4 assists. He's been a primary facilitator for this Clippers team, especially in certain actions. So he's definitely playing aggressive to the level that Ty Lue would need for this to be a championship team. Ingles makes both free throws, so it's an 11-point game, 91-80. 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Kawhi gets the mismatch. Joe Ingles, but he misses the 3 short. 150 to go here in the third. 11-point game. 3-point shot for Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson is going cold since that first quarter. Misses a three. Clippers get back. Kawhi Leonard kicks it out to Luke Kennard. Kennard steps up for the three on the left corner. Big time three for Luke Kennard. So it's a 14-point game. Luke Kennard actually signed a 4-year, $64 million deal with the Clippers in the offseason. He's been used sparingly. At times, he's gotten it going and shot really well. Then at times, he's been out of the rotation, so you never know. Missed three for Joe Ingles, looking to respond, rimmed out. Clippers able to get out and run. Kawhi Leonard trying to set up Zubac at the rim. He mistimed his jump on the alley-oop, so the Jazz are able to get out and run. Royce O'Neal at the rim. Skip pass over to Ingles. Left corner three. Steps into it and knocks it down. So we're back to an 11-point game. Back and forth we go. 94-83. Both teams trading 3-point shots. The Clippers 14 of 28 from three. The Jazz 16 of 34. 40 seconds to go in the third. Patrick Beverley with the basketball. Attacks Rudy Gobert. Misses the layup. Big rebound there by Terrence Mann to keep the possession alive. Luke Kennard with 9 on the shot clock. 30 seconds to go in the quarter. Mismatch with Joe Ingles. Kennard attacks. Finds Terrence Mann. Mann steps into the three. Rims out. Zubac can't get the rebound. So if you're the Jazz, you've weathered the storm. You've gotten this to within 8. The Clippers have responded. So back and forth we go. It's an 11-point game. Jordan Clarkson with the basketball. 6 seconds left in the quarter. They have to get a shot up. Clarkson, right corner, finds Royce O'Neal. The Jazz weren't able to get the shot up in time. Even if it went in, it wouldn't have counted. So the Clippers, although being outscored by 4 in that third quarter, still go into the fourth up 11. 94-83 with 12 minutes to go. Stay tuned for more as this is a Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Jazz trail by 11 here in Game 3. Excuse me. That initial possession to start the fourth wasn't as they drew it up. The initial trap by Donovan Mitchell got the ball out of his hands to Jordan Niang. Niang drove to the rack and threw up an alley for Rudy Gobert just out of the outstretched arms of Gobert, and it was a turnover. So 94-83, 11:35 to go here in the fourth. The Clippers have responded to their 0-2 deficit with great aggressiveness, a sense of urgency. Paul George has come out and really set the tone, and he's gotten great support from Reggie Jackson. Kawhi Leonard turned it up there in that third quarter, and they've gotten timely 3-point shots from others to build this 11-point lead. The Utah Jazz have kept pace with the Clippers, though. Big 3-point shots from Donovan Mitchell, Joe Ingles, Bogdanovich, and others have kept them in the game. Terrence Mann draws a foul, driving to the basket, so he'll go to the free throw line for 2. First free throw for Mann is good. Mann, the second-year player out of Florida State, really came into his own towards the latter part of the season last year in the bubble. And you started to see the potential that he possessed. The second-year player out of Florida State definitely has great potential. He has great size. He's very, very, very tenacious defensively. He's still learning. But I think the way Tyler Lue uses him, especially in high-pressure situations, it can only bode well for his development as a player. Donovan Mitchell trying to split defense, attacks, takes contact, doesn't get the call, but he finishes. Donovan Mitchell picking up his aggression. In that first quarter had 0, but since then has done nothing but be spectacular. Paul George stops on the dime, right wing 3. Big time 3 for Paul George, now with 28 points. Big time defense. He's been working his way downhill, and the Jazz had to use that and prepare for that. And as he did, he used that to his advantage. He was able to get that 3. So it's a 14-point game, but Jordan Niang sets up an alley-oop for Rudy Gobert. That's the type of alley-oop they wanted to set up. The first one was right outside the outstretched arms of Gobert. This one was right in the breadbasket. 12-point game. Good defense by Joe Ingles against Paul George. Wasn't quite able to stop the shot. Paul George got the shot off, but he missed. Niang steps into a three, set up by Joe Ingles, right off the right side of the rim. Clippers is able to get out and run. George sets up Zubac. Zubac misses the layup, can't get the rebound. Jazz get out and run, and Mitchell is fouled by Luke Kennard to stop the fast break. So we're at a sensitive part in the game. It's a 12-point game. Clippers are up, but I wouldn't say they're out of the water just yet. They have control of the game, but the Jazz are still fighting. If they can get a quick run, whether it be a 7-0 run, a 6-0 run, something that can just come in a spurt to where it can shift the game, I think the Clippers will be in trouble. They're under pressure. They're down 0-2. The Jazz know if they can steal this game somehow, they will they would all but have won the series, taking a 3-0 lead. So let's see what can happen. Donovan Mitchell now with 30 points as he gets a tough layup uh, going right at Batum. Batum wasn't able to get the full contest at the rim. Reggie Jackson with the mismatch. Rudy Gobert on him in the left corner. Good contest at the rim by Rudy Gobert. 10-point game. Rudy Gobert trying to get a pass from Niang. Niang turns over the basketball. Man, kicks it to Kennard. Kennard, left corner three. Big three, as that is a 5-point swing. That potential layup opportunity to turn into a turnover for the Jazz turned into a 3-point shot for the Clippers. Went from a 10-point game to a 13-point game. The Jazz tonight, 11 turnovers compared to the Clippers 6. The Clippers have 20 points off of those 10 Jazz turnovers, and Niang commits another turnover. Luke Kennard outrunning is fouled. So those 11 Jazz turnovers, which is now 12, the Clippers have 12 points off of, 20 points off of those turnovers, which have built this 13-point lead. 109 to 82. We have 9:06 to go here in the fourth quarter. Kawhi Leonard getting ready to come back into the game. Terrence Mann directing traffic, looking for Paul George off the pin down. Paul George got caught in the air. He initially went up to shoot, tried to kick it out to Kawhi, stolen by Royce O'Neal. Donovan Mitchell over to Royce O'Neal, left corner three, steps into it with confidence and knocks it down. So again, the Jazz hanging around. They're hanging around. It's a 10-point game, 102 to 92, 8:40 to go here in the fourth. Utah 17 of 36 from three. The Clippers 16 of 31 from three. Paul George continues to keep up his aggressiveness. He scores another basket at the rim, pushing the Clippers lead to 12, 104 to 92. We got a foul against the Clippers with 8:21 to go here in the fourth. As we look at this Paul George attack, started right, crossed over left Royce O'Neal behind, and still attacked Rudy Gobert. As Rudy Gobert jumped to definitely block that, Paul George got it up over the box, and was able to drop right in. So Paul George 12 of 24 from the floor, 30 points. Donovan Mitchell trying to score, misses it. Paul George attacks, finds Kawhi Leonard on the fast break. Kawhi able to get the floater inside over Royce O'Neal. Timeout by Quinn Snyder as Utah down by 14 has to talk it over. 8:06 to go. Clippers up 14 and in control. This is a Game of Day by Zay presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. Stay tuned. Welcome back to another edition of a Game of Day by Zay presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. We are live in the fourth quarter where Utah trails the Clippers by 14, 106 to 92. A missed shot by Royce O'Neal lends itself to another Clippers possession. The Clippers trailing in this series 0-2. Definitely need to solidify this win. They're not out of the fire just yet. Donovan Mitchell with 30 points tonight, 11 of 24 from the floor. He's knocked down 5 3-point shots. He's 5 of 9 from 3. Again, this is a guy who can struggle at any point in the game and turn it on very, very quickly. He was scoreless in that first quarter, and since then has scored all 30 of his points through 3 quarters. He's very, very well in the final 3 quarters. He's been very, very consistent in how he's been attacking. Right now, the Utah is keeping pace, but they're turning over the ball at an alarming rate and giving up points off of those turnovers. The 3-point line has kept Utah in it, though. Jordan Clarkson knocks down a huge 3, and on a turnover off the inbound, Jordan Clarkson with the basketball, looking for Donovan Mitchell, attacking the paint. There's contact with Kawhi, no call, and it'll be contact with Paul George. There's contact with Paul George, no call, but there was offensive interference by Donovan Mitchell trying to finish that layup. No, they say the offensive interference was on Derek Favors. Favors tried to go up for the tip-in. So 7 minutes to go. Clippers up 11 with the basketball. Kawhi Leonard attacking Bogdanovich. Bogdanovich commits the foul. It'll be an and one. But unfortunately for Utah, they're more worried about Donovan Mitchell going to the back on that previous finish at the rim. Took contact. He's been taking a lot of contact today. He took an earlier shot in the back in the latter part of the third quarter. Still finished the layup, but they might have been irritated on that previous offensive interference. There's always going to be bodies thrown around in the paint, especially during the playoffs, fighting for rebounds. You never know what can happen. So hopefully he's all right. Jordan Clarkson steps into a 3. He misses it off the back rim. Rebounded by Favors. Favors trying to kick it out to Bogdanovich. If sails over his head, it'll be a turnover. Okay, so we're getting a replay here. It's not Donovan's back. He might have tweaked an ankle. Going up for that tough layup, he came down hard on his left foot, and he favored it going up. He favored it going back defensively, so he got out of the game. We look at the replay. All right, so Donovan's coming back to the bench, which is a great sign. He's trying to tie up his sneakers. Paul George is fouled. He makes the first free throw. Mitchell letting the training staff know he's all right. He's coming back into the game again. Mitchell, 11 of 25 from the floor, 5 of 9 from 3. Paul George goes 1 of 2 at the free throw line. It's a 15-point game. 6:27 to go. Bogdanovich in the post going against Luke Kennard. Can't finish the layup. Rebounded by Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi thought about a 3. Goes to Nicholas Batum. Back out to Kawhi. 15 on the shot clock. Kawhi steps into a 3. Big time 3. With under 6 minutes to go. Down 18. Donovan Mitchell trying to convince Quinn Snyder to let him go back into the game. If the game gets out of hand, which I think it is, at an 18-point deficit, 5:44 to go, you might just tell Mitchell to sit this one out and worry about game 4 on Monday. 3-point shot for Bogdanovich. He misses it short, and I think that'll about do it. Kawhi Leonard gets the rebound. Utah going cold here in the fourth. Clippers trying to commit the kill shot. 3-point shot for Batum. That will do it. It's a 21-point game now, 116-95. Steve Ballmer, owner of the Clippers, very animated and excited right now. The Clippers need this win, and they need a win on Monday to hold serve to tie this series at 2-2. Royce O'Neal finally makes a basket to stop the bleeding. With 5 minutes to go, Clippers up 116-98. We get stoppage in play as it is a timeout on the floor. Clippers 18 of 33 from the floor, from three, excuse me. Utah 19 of 41. It appears that Donovan Mitchell will not come back into the game. 4:56 to play, but that might be the best thing for Utah right now to make sure he's as healthy as possible in preparation for Game 4 on Monday. We'll be back with more. This is a Game of Day by Zay, presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We're under 5 minutes to play. Here in the fourth, Clippers in control, 116-98. Kawhi Leonard attacking Rudy Gobert, finishes with the left hand. So Kawhi picking up his scoring in the second half. Overall, Kawhi tonight shooting efficient. He turned it around in the second half. He's 13 of 23 from the floor, 32 points for Kawhi. He's the leading scorer for the Clippers tonight, just surpassing Paul George's 31 points. George set the tone in the first half with 20 points, but Kawhi's turned it up here in the second half, now with 32 points. So big second half for Kawhi. 20-point game as the Jazz turn over the basketball. They turn over the basketball. So now the Clippers again with the possession, trying to build on their lead. Tonight, Utah kept pace with the Clippers in terms of shooting threes. Utah 19 of 41 from three. The Clippers 18 of 34. The Jazz shot 42% overall from the field. And what really hurt them is their turnovers. Their total turnovers tonight, uh, 12 turnovers. The Clippers got 24 points off of those turnovers, and the Jazz just wasn't quite able to overcome that. They tried to keep pace. You had Donovan Mitchell really turning it up in that from the second quarter on. He'll end the night in 32 minutes with 30 points, 11 of 24 from the floor, four assists, 5 rebounds, 5 of 9 from three. But outside of him, he didn't really get much scoring. Joe Ingles does have 19, but 11 of those came in the first quarter. Mid-range jumper for Kawhi now with 34 points. With 3:30 to go, we might see a 40-point performance from Kawhi. Royce O'Neal trying to go downhill and set up Rudy Gobert, but he's called for the charge as Terrence Mann steps right in and takes that charge. So the Clippers definitely pouring it on now. They're developing their confidence, although many might say the game is out of reach. You got to understand where this Clipper team is coming from. They're down 0-2 in back-to-back series. They're down 20. They're up 22 right now. They could be trying to build some more momentum going into Game 4. As we can see, Donovan Mitchell speaking with the training staff. He's not really worried. He's still speaking with teammates as well. If I'm the Quinn Snyder, this is what I need Donovan to do. Although he probably wants to be in the game fighting to the very end, we have to keep him healthy for Game 4 on Monday. That is the game. That's the game that's going to swing the series. If the Clippers win that game, they hold serve at home, tie the series at 2, and then it's the best out of 3 after that. If you're Utah, you're trying to win that game and put a stranglehold on the series at 3-1. Utah has already understood the severity of blowing a 3-1. They blew a 3-1 against Denver last year in the bubble. A heartbreaking loss in Game 7 in which it came down to the wire, and they weren't able to solidify that win. But that very same Denver team came back from a 3-1 against the Los Angeles Clippers in the second round of the very next series. So it wasn't out of the water for teams. It's not out of the water for teams to blow a 3-1 now. We've seen it at a much more prevalent clip. More recently, going back to the 2015 season where the Houston Rockets came back from 3-1 against the Los Angeles Clippers in the second round. In 2016, we saw two different teams come back from 3-1 within rounds of each other. The Golden State Warriors came back from 3-1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference Finals, and the Cleveland Cavaliers came back from 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals. And then you had the two occurrences last year in the bubble. So 3-1 isn't as insurmountable as it used to be, but you definitely don't want to be down 3-1. So Utah empties the bench for the final 3 minutes. If you're the Clippers, you're preparing for Monday, understanding of the sense of urgency you have to play with. Patrick Beverley attacks and gets an and one, and he flexes to the crowd, although that's his first basket of the game. You can see uh, Donovan Mitchell also speaking with Michael Conley right now. Michael Conley has yet to play in a game in this series. He strained a hamstring, and he's been trying to ramp up his recovery to get back for this series. He's not quite ready just yet, but Utah can definitely use him, especially as a facilitator and shot maker of his own. He can create off the dribble. Also, Utah relies heavily on the dynamic ability of Donovan Mitchell, which he takes on that challenge and that burden willfully. But in series like this, especially against high-powered offenses like the Clippers, you definitely need weapons that can match and contribute under pressure. So we'll see if he'll be ready to come back for Game 4. The good thing is that the both teams will have 2 days in between Sunday and a day and a half really, Sunday and Monday to get recovery time and preparation. Um, Michael Conley has missed this entire series, so with the strained hamstring, you never really know how they'll flare back up. Case in point, with the Brooklyn Nets and James Harden, he's been dealing with a hamstring injury for the past 30 games. Really, he's missed 25 of the he's missed 25 of the Nets' last 34 games with this hamstring injury that he initially thought was cleared up. It flared back up in Game 1 against the Bucks, and he's been out ever since. So you never know with these hamstrings. You got to play it light. You got to play it safe, and really trust the recovery process because again they flare up at any time. You never know. So if I'm Utah, I'm playing it safe and doing what I have to do. We're under 2 minutes to play. Clippers up by 25, 125 to 100. Yogi Farrell in the game. It's been a long time since we've seen Yogi Farrell. Farrell able to attack the paint, kick out to Terrence Mann. Mann steps into a three. So it's a 28-point game now, 128 to 100. Jazz able to get a basket, and Patrick Beverley handling the basketball for the Clippers. Thought about a three, shaking and baking off the dribble, takes contact. He'll go to the free throw line for two. It's very rare you see Patrick Beverley setting up others off the dribble. If you look at this replay from Yogi Farrell setting up Terrence Mann for three. Farrell made a name for himself going back to Dallas, playing with Dallas a couple of years back. Going back to the 2017 season, he had been out of the league for a while. He's back in the league. He's a tough player despite his diminutive size. He can shoot the basketball. Again, very, very tough. He's fought his way to stay in the league. So um, much respect to Yogi Farrell. And again, he could provide a perimeter player that can knock down the three if necessary. He hasn't been used in the rotation just yet, but again, this is a blowout, so 46 seconds to go. Clippers in control. When you look at the team stats, if you're the Clippers, you're satisfied with how you played. Obviously, you want to defend the three much better as Utah is 19 of 44 from three, but a lot of those threes were taken under duress, specifically with Jordan Clarkson and Donovan Mitchell. So you trust your defensive principles, and more than anything, Donovan Mitchell's day was made tough. Everything he had to do was faced with a quick trap or double team, and despite that defensive presence, he still had to fight through all of that and get the shots that he got. He was very efficient. With that said, though, uh, Ty Lue should be encouraged by how this team played. They have to sustain that level of urgency and fight uh, to try to finish out this 2 game stretch and go back to Utah tied up at 2. The final for tonight's game will be 120, 132 to 106, 132 to 106. 30 points from Donovan Mitchell in 32 minutes wasn't enough. Kawhi Leonard, 34 points, 14 of 24 from the floor. Really turned it around in the second half. 12 rebounds, 5 assists. A big first half from Paul George with 20 points added to the tone that the Clippers desperately needed to set. Overall, for Paul George, 31 points tonight. A big night for Paul George, 12 of 24 from the floor, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. When you look at what Paul George has done over the last couple of years, he's taken a lot of hits offensively in terms of how he's played under pressure. This was a pressure game. This was a must win, and he stepped up desperately when the Clippers needed him most. Other outstanding performance tonight, you can't forget about Reggie Jackson, who played exceptionally well, especially in that first half. He ended the game with 17 points. He had 14 in the first half, but that set the tone going into the second half. Clippers were up by 15, and they were able to sustain that lead. So we'll see what the Clippers are able to do in Game 4 on Monday. Obviously, all all attention and purposes will be paid attention to um, the likes of Donovan Mitchell and his foot. How he recovers in the next day and a half will be important to Utah's chances of not only winning Game 4 but winning the series. So we'll pay attention to that. Also, we'll see if Mike Conley will be able to return from his hamstring injury. But until then, the Clippers can celebrate as they win Game 3. Down 2-1. We'll be back with more. As this is a Game of Day by Zay presented to you by the Ask Isaiah YouTube page. I'm Isaiah Rhodes. You just finished listening to the Los Angeles Clippers defeat the Jazz 132 to 106.